Welcome back to the AZ Gooner. Today, I'm going to be ranking the top 10 signings of the summer so far. Now, not all of these signings have been officially announced by the club, but they've all been agreed terms and personal terms have all been agreed for. Before we get into the top 10, I'm going to run through some honorable mentions. First up, Pau Torres is going from Villarreal to Aston Villa, where Unai Emery, he was a manager at Villarreal, moved to Aston Villa. He's going to get a center back that he's familiar with. Emery really improved Villa towards the back end of last season, and I think this will just add more strength to that defense. And the signing makes sense, getting a center back that he already knows. Next up, we got Marcus Thuram. He's going from Borussia Mönchengladbach to Inter Milan, and it's going to be a free transfer. So I think for a free transfer for a guy like Thuram, who's going to be able to play striker out on the wing, add some good quality to the front line at Inter. Then Ilkay Gundogan, another free transfer. He's won everything at Manchester City. It's time to move on. He's going to another big club, Barcelona. I think that's also a good move for both sides there. Now on my number 10 spot of the top 10 signings of the summer so far, I have Dominik Szoboszlai. He's going from Leipzig to Liverpool. I think it's a good move for Liverpool. They get some midfield help. Szoboszlai, very good attacking player, very good striker of the ball. It's a good signing, but the reason why it's not higher is just because I think it's a little expensive for this player. In my number 9 spot, I got Mason Mount to Man United. Now, Mount came up through Chelsea, looked like he had a lot of potential. Things started to dry out over the last 2 years, and we really haven't seen the best of Mason Mount. Now, I think for the player, this is a good move. I think it was time that he got out of Chelsea, go to another Premier League club, get a fresh start. Now, I do think this is another very expensive transfer. For Man United, it's another player to add to their midfield. You can play alongside Bruno and then Casemiro in behind. I think that's a very solid midfield there for United. So Mason Mount, overall decent signing. Let's see if he can shine in this new system at Man United. In my number 8 spot, another Chelsea player. This time it's Mateo Kovacic going to the other side of Manchester in Manchester City. A very good signing, in my opinion. I think Kovacic has a lot of talent. He's very good dribbler, very good on the ball. For a way less fee than Mason Mount, I think this is a better signing. I think that Kovacic will be able to excel in Pep's system. He's going to be probably playing that Gundogan role in the 8. And I think for 31 mil, a very good signing for City. Everybody at Chelsea was off form this year. So I think Pep is going to be able to get him back on form. My number 7 spot, we have James Maddison, who got relegated last year at Leicester City, and he's going to be going to Tottenham. Now, Maddison, a number 10, the last 2 years had 20 and then 19 goal contributions. He's one of the only real bright spots about Leicester last year. Since he's been in the Prem, he's produced goals and assists. He's going to be an attacking midfielder, which Tottenham really don't have any at this moment. They've been playing with a midfield pivot for the last few years, always playing that five at the back. So now that they're going to be changing system, likely a 4-3-3, I think Maddison is a very, very good signing for Tottenham. If Harry Kane stays, I don't know if he's going to stay. Son stays, I think this will add very good help in behind for them. We don't know if Kane's staying or not, but overall, Maddison a good signing for Tottenham. My number 6 spot, we have Alexis Mac Allister from Brighton. He's going to be going to Liverpool. Liverpool is going to be adding another midfielder in Mac Allister and a much less fee than Szoboszlai. That's why I have Mac Allister at 6 and Szoboszlai 10, just because I think the fee is a lot better in this deal. I think Mac Allister is a very good player, won the World Cup, one of Brighton's best players. We know the amount of talent that Brighton have at that club, and Mac Allister is one of the best in my opinion. So to be able to bring him in, it looks like Szoboszlai and Mac Allister. I'm not sure how Klopp's going to work that out, but those two could be their new 8s in their system. So I think Liverpool strengthening their midfield, it's a good move for them. It's also a good move for Mac Allister getting his move to a Big Six club. my number 5 spot. At number 5, I got Christopher Nkunku. He's going to Chelsea. Now, this deal actually was agreed on in January, I believe, but he's finally making the move to Chelsea this summer. And for me, a great signing from Chelsea. I rate Nkunku highly. He's a very good striker, can finish both feet. He's also a good creator, gets assists. He adds a lot to an attack, and especially a Chelsea attack that was very, very bad last year. They're going to be replacing like the likes of Havertz, Mount, with guys like Nkunku, Nicholas Jackson. I think he'll probably play in a 10 role, that shadow striker. I think whatever position he plays in, I think Nkunku is going to excel. I think he has that much quality in him. We'll see if he's going to be able to translate his game from the Bundesliga into the Prem. Now at number 4, I have Sandro Tonali to Newcastle. When I first saw this signing and the links, I was like, man, this is a very good move for Newcastle. We know Newcastle and the amount of money they have, and they've just getting started spending it. For me, Tonali, young midfielder, had a great season at AC Milan, is going to be able to play alongside Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Willock, Joe Linton. Very good midfield that Newcastle are building right now, and Tonali is going to add to that. I think this is a very, very good signing. Tonali is a very good player, in my opinion, and I think it's money well spent for Newcastle. You know, they've just started after the takeover, just started spending money, and they've already gotten into the Champions League in like a year. As they keep building this Champions League squad, Tonali's a good start for that, in my opinion. Now moving into the top 3 and third, I got Declan Rice to Arsenal. This was a statement signing from Arsenal, spending $133 million on a player. We have not seen this from Arsenal ever. So breaking their record transfer signing after just missing out on the title. I think this is going to be a crucial signing for Arsenal. If Declan Rice can prove to be who Arsenal think they're signing, which is a top 3 DM in the league and possibly a top 5 DM in the world, I think that if Declan Rice ends up paying off, this could be the window Arsenal looks back and say this is where what wins them trophies. And so I think for Declan Rice being able to get his move to a Big Six club and stay close to home in London, I know the fee is a bit high, which is why he's not higher on my list. But Declan Rice, great move for him, great move for Arsenal. For my number 2 spot, I got Kim Min-jae to Bayern Munich. For me, Kim Min-jae, if you look at Napoli's team, they had some very good players this year. They won Serie A, Osimhen, Kvaratskhelia, and Kim Min-jae were the 3 that really stood out. And their Bayern's going to be activating a release clause of 54 million for Kim Min-jae, and that's a very, very good deal. I mean, if there was no release clause, I would imagine he would be going around 75, 80 million. But the fact that they're able to get him for 50, he's one of the best center backs of last season. Bayern's a top club. I think it's going to be a good move for him as well. So very, very cheap deal in my opinion for Kim Min-jae. So he's my number 2. And moving on to my number 1, I have Jude Bellingham. He's 20 years old, English midfielder, and he's already getting his dream move to Real Madrid. Lots of talks about Bellingham, whether he's going to go to Liverpool, City, possibly Arsenal, but he does not decide to go back to England. Instead, he's going to Real Madrid, and we know the history, the tradition, the winningness of Real Madrid, you know, the Champions League success, one of the, for me, possibly the best club in the world. And we know what Madrid is already doing with their midfield, going from Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro to now having Bellingham, Valverde, Tchouameni, also Camavinga in there. They've totally revived that midfield with young players and a lot of quality. So for me, already being one of the top midfielders in Europe, Jude Bellingham going to one of the best teams in Europe, I think it's a good move for him. That's my number 1. That is my top 10 signings of the summer so far. we'll see what's more to come in this window.